Good morning. Hi, I'm Ceri. Welcome to House of Light here in the beautiful Alpujarra Mountains of South Spain. So I am co-founder of House of Light, the retreat centre that we run here, and right now I'm on the roof of my house, which is situated just above the retreat centre. So I'm super excited about today's practice because I get to give you a little bit of a flavour of where we live. You can see the beautiful surroundings, the backdrop that we've got here today, and it actually ties in with the theme of today's class. I often come up here to do my morning practice for this very reason, that I can connect to this feeling of I am limitless. So sitting here under the expanse of the skies and with these beautiful majestic mountains in the backdrop, it's a real reminder that actually there is no separation between me and the limitless beauty that surrounds me. It's a wonderful reminder. So I'm just going to wait for a little bit longer to see if anybody else wants to join the class this morning. It doesn't matter if you don't have them, but it might be handy to have a block or two or a couple of cushions or blankets to hand. It's only for a very small part of the class, so don't worry if you don't have them. Okay, so I'm going to come into a comfortable cross-legged position, resting the palms on the thighs and just inviting the eyelids to close, bringing the gaze inward, starting to connect with the breath. Easy rise and gentle fall of the breath as it enters and leaves the body through the nostrils. Gently starting to lengthen the breath and starting to connect with the Ujjayi breath. So a gentle restriction in the back of the throat, making a quiet whispering sound as you inhale and exhale. So often our actions can be limited by our thoughts. Negative thought patterns can stop us from achieving or attaining what we want in life or within our practice. Often on the mat, our brain can step in and tell us that we can't possibly get into the next asana, or we can't hold this present asana for a few more breaths. But if we take small steps and have perfect present moment awareness, honouring where the body is in this moment, sometimes the body can achieve things before the mind has got in the way. So a gentle reminder that you and your potential is absolutely limitless. So if your eyes were closed, gently blinking open the eyes, keeping the gaze down past the cheeks towards the ground. Just feeling the connection between the sit bones and the earth, and lengthening the spine, allowing the crown of the head to ascend upwards, and simultaneously allowing the shoulders to sink down towards the ground. On the next exhalation, lower your right ear to your right shoulder, and then lower chin to chest, and left ear, left shoulder, and inhale to gaze upwards, and complete the circle, right ear, right shoulder. Exhale to gaze down, left ear, left shoulder. Inhale to gaze up, pausing and reverse the direction. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest, right ear, right shoulder. Inhale to gaze up, and one more circle, really connecting the rhythm and the pace of your movement to the rhythm and the pace of your breath. Then returning your head to a central position, bringing your awareness now to the solar plexus, so the soft point just beneath the sternum where the rib cage meets. And imagine that you're going to draw circles around your pelvic girdle in a clockwise direction. So starting with the circles fairly small, and then bring them larger and larger, so you can bring pressure onto the knees as you come forwards, and hold the knees and straighten the arms as you move back. And if you'd like to synchronize the breath, inhaling as you create the front side of the circle and exhale as you move back. Then keeping the circles really large, pause and reverse the direction, moving in an anti-clockwise direction. And make the circles a little smaller and smaller again until you find stillness. Then taking hold of your left knee and your left ankle, just setting the shin bone up if you're looking towards the front of your mat, bringing the shin bone as close to parallel to the short edge of the mat as you can. You might need to bring a block to support the underside of the left knee. And then taking the right leg and stacking it directly on top. So make sure that you flex both feet firmly to protect the knee joints. You might also want to bring a block to support that top right knee. So we're aiming to have the shin bones running parallel to one another and running parallel to the short edge of the mat. Bring tented fingertips to the ground in front of the toes. So this might already be challenging enough. Your hip bones, your hip joints might already be talking to you quite loudly and telling you that you've found your edge. If not, if there's room to manoeuvre, then keeping the spine as straight as you can, start to creep the fingertips forwards. Keep the gaze down so the back of the neck remains long. Slow, steady breaths, full, complete exhalations. And inhale to walk the hands close to the shins. Now unravelling the legs, bring the knees together with the knees bent. As you exhale, roll back onto the length of the spine and roll forwards. Then setting up with the right leg as the base and the left leg on top. Both feet firmly flexed, option to use the blocks for support, and tented fingertips come to the mat. Listen to the body, listen with curiosity and with acceptance, and then pause or possibly explore a little more deeply into the pose. Allow the breath to wash around the left hip joint. And then walking the hands back towards the shins again, sitting tall, unravel the legs. Make sure that you're sitting in the centre of your mat before you roll back. This time crossing the legs so that as you roll forwards, you can come into tabletop position. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists, hips over knees, the tops of the feet resting against the mat, and lift the navel up towards the spine, taking any curve out of the lumbar spine. On the next inhalation, lower the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the crown of the head, slide the shoulders down onto the back. And as you exhale, come into angry cat, but peel the heels of the hands and the thumbs away from the mat. So rounding the spine, exhale, lower the palms to the mat. Come into cow belly, lead forwards and up with the tip of the nose. Exhale, round the spine, lift the heels of the hands and the thumbs away from the mat, also warming into the wrists and the palms of the hands. One more round, following the rhythm of your own breath. And then returning to a neutral tabletop position, hook all 10 toes underneath. On the next inhalation, float the knees just an inch or so away from the ground. Make sure you're pressing the skin on the back of the neck up towards the sky, so doming in the upper back. On the next exhalation, keep the heels high and keep the knees bent, but send the hips up and back. So we come into a bent-legged version of downward facing dog. Press into the root of the index finger and roll the inner elbows forwards and up, creating broad shoulders. Option to pedal the legs, allowing the hips to sway from side to side. Keep the gaze back towards the big toes or between the knees or even towards the navel. Reconnect with the breath here. And on the next inhalation, look to the thumbs, lift the heels, and then slowly walk the feet forwards. Keep the knees soft so you can lay the stomach against the thighs, holding opposite elbows and allow the head to hang heavy. Letting any tension, any anxiety, any negativity just trickle down the spine and exit the body through the crown of the head. Letting go of opposite elbows, soften the knees a little more deeply and roll up one vertebra at a time to come to stand, bringing the head up last. If you're not already there, step into the front of your mat and finding Tadasana. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Tuck the tailbone under, draw it down towards the heels and gently firm the belly. Face the palms forwards, soften the shoulders, slide them down the back towards the hips. And reconnect with the breath. On the next inhalation, reach sideways and up, palms meet. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, fingertips to the mat or to your shins. And as you exhale, plant both palms and step back to high plank. Just checking our foundations here. Is there a straight line from the heels through to the crown of the head? If there's any curve in the lumbar spine and you're dumping in the lower back, let's correct that by pressing the tailbone towards the heels, lifting navel towards spine, and again, dome in the upper back by pressing the ground away from you. Exhale, either chaturanga or knees down and belly to the mat. Inhale, up dog or cobra, soft in the shoulders. Exhale, transition to downward facing dog, either directly or through tabletop position. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Now step the feet together so the inner ankles touch, and on the next inhalation float the right leg to the sky. Option to bend that lifted knee, imagining you could tap yourself on the left shoulder with the right toes. If you find you've collapsed into the shoulders, an imaginary puff of air under the left armpit can level the shoulders out. Inhale, re-extend the lifted leg, and exhale, step it forwards between the hands. Spin the back heel down and check for a heel to instep alignment in preparation for Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale to windmill the arms open. And again, scanning through the body from the feet up, pressing into the little toe side of the back foot and the ball of the front foot. Glance down to see if you can see the instep of your front foot. If not, tracking the knee towards the little toe side of that foot. Soften the shoulders down away from the ears and gazing over the middle finger of the front hand. On the next inhalation, flip the right palm up towards the sky. As you exhale, reverse the warrior by lowering the left arm, raising the right. Inhale, return to warrior 2. And exhale, bring the right elbow to the right knee. Option to bring the fingertips down to the mats at the instep of the right foot, or possibly with the support of a block. As you inhale, you reach the left arm towards the front of your mat. Tuck the right hip under the body and open the left hip, and spin the left little finger down towards the ground. Now bring a little more awareness into the back leg. It's still part of this pose, so really charge the back leg as we're going to aim to float the right hand away from the ground and do splits with the arms. So the right fingertips point towards the back of your mat, the arm running beside your ribs. Inhale to bring the arms parallel, and then opening out into warrior 2. From here, straightening the front leg and heel toe the back foot forwards a little bit, keeping that heel to instep alignment, but just slightly shortening your base, and imagining that you're sandwiched between 2 sheets of glass. So we can only move in one direction, aiming to not have any movement forwards or back. So start to reach forwards with the right fingertips, allowing the left hip to slightly move back, keeping sandwiched within those panes of glass. As soon as you feel a temptation to lean forwards, this is where we lower the right arm and lift the left, coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose, sending out energy in all 4 directions, connecting with the limitless space of the universe that surrounds you, remembering to breathe, and inhale to come up. Then bringing the hands into prayer in front of the heart and lifting the right toes, coming onto the right heel. Exhale as you squat back towards the left heel. Gazing towards the right foot, the foot is flexed and the leg is toned. Then placing your sit bones down to the mat. Bring the sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. There's now 3 choices for where to put your right hand. You can either lay it on top of your right leg. The second option is to bring it to the ground on the inside edge of your right leg. The third option is to reach across for anywhere along your left thigh or knee. So choosing one of these options, or moving into the pose and then exploring the different options once you're there, reaching up and over with an aim to touch your right toes with your left fingertips, but if you're not quite there, just imagining that you're moving towards this point, and roll the belly up towards the sky, looking underneath the left armpit. Inhale to come upright. Exhale, lower the left arm. And then just pivot on your sit bones to face the short edge of your mat, keeping your left leg bent. Again, using the right hand, reach for the little toe side of your left foot. Your right leg is also involved, so keep it active and flexed. And then extend the left leg and reach back with the left arm, looking back towards your left thumb. Keeping the spine as tall and straight as possible, lifting up through the crown. And as you exhale, rebend the left knee, gaze towards the front of your mat and plant the sole of your left foot on the mat. Just making a fist out of your right hand. Just check that there's about a fist distance between your right inner thigh and your left foot. Then bring the right hand and place tented fingertips slightly behind the body. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale to reach forwards, keeping your rib cage and your shoulder of your left arm to the inside edge of your left leg. Then reaching in front of the left shin and round behind you. Seeing if there's a possibility to take a bind with the hands. If you have a belt, it's also an option to use the belt. If you don't have a belt, you can just take hold of your clothing to make that connection. Keep the right foot flexed. Inhale to lengthen the spine, reach the crown of the head towards the right toes. Exhale to fold. One more breath. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to lower. Then letting go of the bind, reaching forwards with the left arm and inhale to come upright. Exhale, release the left arm. Now bending both knees, bringing the hands to the backs of the thighs and coming onto your tiptoes. Find that balancing point by leaning the chest back slightly. An option to float the toes away from the mat, reaching the fingers forwards, flaring the fingers, finding Navasana, half boat pose. Feel that warmth coming into the belly. And then bring the hands behind you, cross the legs in front of the body and exhale to roll forwards, finding plank pose, and then vinyasa. Make your vinyasa your own, so either coming down onto the belly or chaturanga, choice of up dog or cobra, and transitioning to downward facing dog. Reconnect with the breath, feeling the gentle ebb and flow of the breath in and out of the body. And then stepping the feet together so the inner ankles touch. Inhale to float the left leg. Option to bend the lifted leg. Align the shoulders to the mat. Inhale, straighten the lifted leg and exhale to step it forwards between the hands. Spin the back heel down. Check for a heel to instep alignment. And inhale, windmill the arms open to warrior two. Keep the spine perpendicular to the ground. There may be a temptation to follow the front finger forwards, so just correct that alignment by keeping the spine tall and upright. Then inhale, flip the left palm up to the sky. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Inhale, return to warrior two, and exhale, left elbow to left knee. Second option, left fingers to a block on the inside edge of your left foot. Third and final option, fingertips or palm to the ground. Inhale to reach forwards with the right arm. Spin the little finger down towards the ground and rotate the belly and the chest up towards the sky, looking under the right armpit. Now charge the back leg and make splits with the arms. Then inhale to reach forwards, arms parallel. We've got a little feline visitor coming in. Inhale, return to warrior two. Straightening the front leg and heel toe the back foot forwards. Hopefully you won't get in the way too much. So setting up for Trikonasana once again, and heel to instep alignment. Bye cat. So again, sandwich between two sheets of glass, reaching forwards with the left fingertips. When you realise you can't reach any further forwards, lowering the left fingertips down, raising the right hand up. Keep moving this left hip underneath the body and rolling the right hip open and back. Try to keep also some length in the underside of the ribs. Inhale to lift up. Bring hands into prayer in front of the heart. Come onto the heel of the left foot and exhale to squat back towards the right heel. Sit the sit bones down and bring the sole of the right foot to the inside edge of the left thigh. Choosing once again whether to bring the left arm to the top of the left leg, to the mat, or reaching for the right thigh. And inhale to reach the right arm up and over. Again, roll the belly up towards the sky, looking under the right arm. Inhale to come up. Pivot on the sit bones to face forwards, keeping the right knee bent. This time lifting the left hand and reach across for the little toe side of the right foot. Extending the right leg. You can also bring a belt into play if your hamstrings are tight. And gaze back towards the right thumb. Lifting up through the crown, soften the belly to enable a deeper twist. And then exhale to rebend the right knee, plant the sole of the foot on the mat and face forwards. Check for that fist distance between the foot and the left inner thigh. Tented left fingertips slightly behind you on the mat, and inhale to reach up with the right arm. Exhale, extend forwards, keeping the ribs and the shoulder to the inside edge of the right knee before you reach in front of the shin and behind the body, reaching for that bind, either with your fingers, a belt or your clothing. Inhale to lengthen the spine, soften the shoulders. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. And release the bind. Reach forwards with the right arm. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, bring the fingers down. Cross the legs in front of the body, rolling forwards. An option to come directly to downward facing dog or flow through your version of vinyasa. From here, we're just going to come onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees and take a little bunny hop forwards to the middle of the mat, and setting your feet fairly wide with the toes just on the edge of the mat. We're going to give ourselves a little reminder of the playful nature of which we should approach our yoga practice. So lifting the hips up high, start to walk the hands between the feet and behind the heels, and play with placing the palms of the hands down onto the mat and bringing the sit bones down to the upper arms or the elbows. At the moment, just rock your weight backwards and forwards to see if this is even an option for you right now. Just starting to play. You can even just give yourself a reminder that that's as far as you're going to fall if it goes wrong. So just do a little sit back on the mat. If you're still with me and you want to take it a little further, as you bring your weight onto your elbows, imagine that your tailbone and the points of your feet make up the 3 points of a triangle. So we're going to try and lift these 3 points simultaneously to come into Titibhasana. And lower down. It's quite a nice one to do with your eyes closed, so you can imagine that all 3 points are levitating and lifting, even if they're maybe only a millimetre away from the mat. So now shuffling your bottom forwards, placing one vertebra at a time down onto the mat, bringing the arms out into a T shape and the knees into the chest. Roll the knees left and bring your gaze right. Breathing into the whole length of the spine. Draw the knees towards the chest to protect the lower back as you roll through centre, and then bring in the knees right and the gaze left. Once again, knees into the chest, into centre, give yourself a squeeze, and then opening out into Shavasana. So stepping the feet to the far corners of the mat, allowing the feet to roll out naturally. Bring the arms beside the body but not touching the body, palms facing up. Let go of any Ujjayi breath, return to completely natural breath. Just allowing the energetic body and the breath to expand beyond the limits of the skin, beyond the confines of the physical body. Taking an opportunity just to connect with the limitlessness of the universe. A reminder that there is no separation between you and those limitless realms that surround you. Taking as much time as you need today to rest in Shavasana, and when you feel ready, Bringing your knees into your chest, one more squeeze. A little roll or pressing yourself up to a seated position. Hands in front of the heart. Namaste. Thank you for joining me in today's practice. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you move through the rest of the day with a sense of limitlessness. Namaste.